Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups. Let me see if I can find the live feed. And we're also on YouTube at Fort Worth Memories, I think. It is not showing up. Is there anybody out there that maybe it's not, maybe I didn't do something right. Let's try it one more time. There I am. I guess I didn't click that little, whatever that other little thing is. Okay, let me style the video. So today is Tuesday, /February 4th, 2025. We're into the second month. And I'm going to share it. Oh. I'm going to share it to the open internet and share it to Memories and Live Videos. Okay. Well, it's going to be another beautiful day out here. I don't know of anything that's going on that, let me get rid of that thing. That is noteworthy to y'all. When do the pitchers and catchers, aren't they the first ones that have to go in? Hey, Brittany, Monty, Carolyn. Y'all can see the sponsors in the corner. There's A-Bird AC and Heating. That's Dub Peacock's company. There's Burt Ladner Real Estate. Wes Williams is associated with those folks. Another sponsor is Eric Walsh. Eric and Wes are both on the boards at Larry's Kids. Coburn's Catering is Steve Coburn. He's now the Coburn in charge. Coburn's goes back to 1946. If you go to the stock show and eat barbecue sandwich, you're eating it from Coburn's. Grateful for Your Trees is Dickie Carr. They do anything that has to do with trees. Cut them down, trim them. They make firewood. There's all the stuff they do. I've interviewed Dickie a couple of times. He's a very energetic young man. He's ready to go. So give them a call. They need to work, and y'all got trees that need to be trimmed. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel is now in the hands of Pat and Richard Carr. It was Richard's father, Dickie Carr. Pat and Richard are very active in the community, doing a lot of good stuff. Always contributes to the bike giveaway. Express Dent is owned by, well, Dick Regester started it about 40 years ago, about the same time I started Classic. And Dick now lives in Florida, so Eric, his operating partner, takes care of the business. It's over on White Settlement, so if you've got door dings, hail damage, anything like that, Express Dent is the folks to go to. Fort Worth Lumber Company is off the South Freeway, I still call it, 35. building materials, plans, anything to do with building. Fort Worth Lumber. They've been sponsors on our group forever and also give every year to the bike giveaway. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric. He's our electrician, our electrical contractor. Family owned business. Got a lot of good reviews off work he's done for members. Jenny Stewart is our State Farm insurance lady. Everybody's insurance just keeps going up. Call Jenny and get a quote. You might save some bucks. John is in. Good morning. K Ranch Roofing. Jorge Hernandez is the owner. Bree is the lady when you call. She will set you up an appointment. If you think you've got roof damage, don't try to get up there and look at it yourself. You'll fall off and could do all kinds of bad things. Call K Ranch Roofing. They will come out and inspect it for free. Tell you if you're good or bad or whatever. Old South Pancake House. Rex Benson owns Old South. There's one on 1500 South University that's been there since it's been in the Benson family since 1962. Now they've got one in Burleson also. The one on University is open 24/7. They never sleep. The one in Burleson, they close at 9 or 10 at night. The Optimist Club of Fort Worth, they donate a tree every year to the museum for our holiday season. They do a lot of great stuff for youth. Linda's in, Timmy is in, John is in. Passport Getaways. If you want to book a cruise or take a trip, go see Europe, whatever. If you just want to travel in the U.S. and go to Branson or Disney World or whatever, call Passport Getaways. Let them do the legwork, and all you got to do is give them your debit card number. Terry's in, and go enjoy your trip. Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is on my board of Larry's Kids. He's also a sponsor on our group. Of course, we all know Railhead's been there. Great barbecue, been there many, many, many years. Rains Plumbing is our plumbing sponsor. Family-owned business, and they have done. I've gotten a lot of y'all have sent me messages how good the work is. So, thank you. There's Rex's Bar and Grill. It's also on the same parking lot with Old South over on 1500 South University Drive. It's the old Macaroni Grill. Rex has turned that into a sports bar and grill, and it's fantastic. Go check it. I just gave Sherry Holt, Rex's event planner lady. We're going to have our birthday party there this year for the group and boxing in Cowtown. Schwartz and Hanson Architects. They have been involved in our sponsors page forever, and also for the bike giveaway. Casey Crawl Insurance. They're our Medicaid and Medicare insurance folks. They are very knowledgeable about that. So don't try to figure it out on your own, because it'll take you forever and you'll never get it right. They'll come to you, or you can go to them. Stroud Auto Supply. I just met in person Danny and his wife last Saturday. But as I have been talking with Danny, I used to shop there when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. 9 degrees apart. That's what they say. We're all 9 degrees apart. Feltz Family Auto Care. Mike Feltz and his wife and his team out there in Burleson, 1500 Renfro Street, Burleson, Texas. When I started posting about their business, I mean, it was through the roof. Y'all immediately responded. There's G2 Garage. They're in the White Settlement area. Chris and his team out there, they do a great job. There's a new client special offer. I've had a lot of good. In fact, the Uber driver he was taking me home the other day, and he'd run over a piece of tire from an 18-wheeler on the freeway, and it tore off something underneath. And I said, take it over there to G2 Garage. He took it over there, and Chris and them took care of him and got him all fixed up. Fort Worth Florist. We now are proud to say we have a florist. They are on Camp Bowie, 8200 block of Camp Bowie. Jeanette and her team are ready to take care of your Valentine's orders, funerals, weddings, get well, flowers, whatever. You need flowers, Fort Worth Florist is the place to go. Alpa Design and Build, that's Lance Sanders. They do our remodeling. They'll remodel your house, your room, change your carpet out, or they'll put a second story on it for you. Sandy is in, so get a hold of Lance Sanders. There's our own IT guru, technical guru. Candace is in. Scott Sumner. Scott will build a website for you, or any issues that you've got with this technical stuff. Winstead Paint and Body. There is Clay Winstead. That's a family-owned business, and it's been in the Winstead family for way before Clay Winstead was born. And they do a great job. I've never had anybody say that it wasn't great. We still got winter left, so don't forget, bring us inside and keep us warm. We need to all say a prayer for basically everybody on the planet. Good guys, bad guys, whatever. Because one time I was a bad guy. I'm living proof that you can change. Okay, our Cleburne group is weighing in. Larry, there was, prior to World War I, there was airfields that we trained troops. Okay, in Benbrook, yeah. It was called Teleferro Field. They trained the pilots from the Royal Canadian Flying Corps. When the United States entered World War I, the name of that field was changed to Carruthers. Does that answer your? I can't see, you're still typing. So it was changed to Carruthers Field. Here's one you probably won't know. Okay, try me. Who started the Fort Worth Opera? Well, it happens to be that I do know. There were 3 housewives that actually got the ball going. It was 1946. One of the ladies' name was Eloise McDonald Snyder. It's been a long time since I thought about this. Betty Spain was another one of our housewives, and then Janine Axtell Walker. In 1946 they started. Took them a couple of years to get everything going. They started a opera guild where they inducted 35 other ladies in our area, and they got the ball rolling. So by 1949, right about the time that we celebrated 100 years, Fort Worth, It was founded in 1849. They were in full swing. Now, when you research the Fort Worth Opera, it won't tell you about the mover behind it, and that was Bruce Lowry Chevrolet, but it was Ernest Allen that helped get that thing really moving. So the opera was really, though, those three housewives, a couple of them, one of them had been in a chorus line in her younger years. Another one had been in New York and gone to the opera several times. And then the third was just a housewife. But if it hadn't been for them, I mean, I guess at some point somebody would have started the Fort Worth Opera. We were starting to get, there was a couple of different movements in Fort Worth back during the Hell's Half Acres day. The Reformist Party, some of our ladies around the country decided to get everybody a little bit more proper, shut down these houses of prostitution and 24/7 gambling, and they did a good job of it. There was different ladies that would go into the Acre and go into bars down there and just march in with either 1 or 2 or 15 or 20 different ladies dressed in their Sunday attire and kind of throw a monkey wrench in the day's activities of drinking. There was one lady, and I don't think I've ever known her name. She traveled all over the country. They called her the Hammer, I guess. She would walk in and she had a hammer, and she'd start busting stuff up. And of course they would have her arrested, and that's what she was looking for, is notoriety. So but J. Frank Norris was also a big proponent of shutting down the Acre. In fact, he was the most important one. He would get members of First Baptist Church. On his Sunday sermon, he would say, I need 35 of you good people to join me here at the church. It was downtown First Baptist. Friday, about 7:30 or 8 in the evening, they would walk down to the Acre and they would camp out in front of the houses of ill repute. So if I was walking into one of those houses, they would say, Larry O'Neill, good. Maria will know where you are spending your Friday night. So basically that kind of shut down the Acre overnight. And of course it reappeared. What was the final nail in the coffin is when Camp Bowie, the military installation, was open. You could not have houses of ill repute and places that sold whiskey within 5 miles of a military installation, and they enforced that strictly. But at different times, the Acre, when it first started, was our lifeline. There was no commerce here. The only thing that brought in money was the cattle drives up the Chisholm Trail and the Acre, the gambling, the houses of ill repute, all of that. The sheriff would fine the prostitutes, the madams, the gambling places every month, sometimes twice a month if the city needed more money. And there was as many as 1,000 or 1,100 prostitutes in the Acre on a good Friday night or Saturday night. So that was a source of revenue. I got a guy bringing the car. Hold on. Hey, I thought I heard you pull up.
Yeah.
I'll send you a message.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good.
They coming to get you?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. I thought I heard him. Okay, it's foggy out there. So, back to history. So that was kind of the final coffin, or nail in the coffin. The Acre started in the 70s, 1870s. It flourished during the 80s. Then it kind of went away. Then it came back a little bit. And then when Camp Bowie military installation was built, it was shut down. But the main reason for shutting down was J. Frank Norris, First Baptist Church. He did the deal. Okay, so I got to get started out here in a minute. That's a good question, Cleburne. I've got Sherry Holt hooked up on our contacts for Bassam Foods and Rex's Bar and Grill. There's Mike Phelps. I was just talking to y'all about him, and I will show you his. Mike is in the Burleson area. There he is. Phelps Family Auto Care. I had the pleasure of meeting Mike and his wife over here a couple of Saturdays ago. That's a family-owned business. The day I started posting about Phelps Family Auto Care, I knew they were the real deal because a bunch of y'all weighed in immediately. And that's, really two of the big things that you got to try to figure out is a good mechanic and a politician that you want to get behind. So back in the 90s, Mike can probably tell us more. You would see commercials on television and they would say, hey, we put the parts back in the trunk of your car or the bed of your truck. Well, how do we know those are the parts? So I used to have nightmares about the shop foreman saying, hey, Junior, run down to the wrecking yard and fill up 20 more boxes. I mean, number one, we didn't want those parts. How are we going to dispose of them? And number two, how do we know those are the parts that came off of our car? So, and me being in the auto business for many years, over 40, and we used to sell a lot of cars downtown, and I had a particular car that when they were driving it back from the auction in Dallas, the driver called me and said, hey boss, it won't shift from second to third, automatic transmission. And I said, well, hey, don't drive it. You'll probably burn it up. Just pull over and I'll send the wrecker. I had a wrecker business at that time. So I sent the wrecker over there. This is when I was at 2713 West 5th, where Blue Mesa is. And so I took it to a transmission shop on West 6th, and I'm not going to say the name of the business, but they've been out of business for 20 years. And the guy called me up and he said, Larry, I hate to tell you this, but it's going to be like $2,000. It was this, or this. And I said, no, don't do it. I think I've got recourse because I just bought it at the auction. And so guy came in, and it was a Mitsubishi, not the Spider, but that 3000 GT. It was one of them little racy cars. Lisa's in. So a buddy of mine came over. He's in the car business, and he saw that little red Mitsubishi 3000 GT, and he said, how much you want for that car? I said, Terry, you can't, I don't want to sell it. It's got a bad transmission. It won't shift from second to third, or whatever gear it was. He said, oh hell, that's probably just that filter. I said, what filter? He said, hold on. And at that shop I had a lift. We put it on the lift. He did something and came out with a metal deal that was all clogged up. He said, that's all it is. He said, we can blow it out with air. Or he said, they're about $32. And I said, well, I'll just go ahead, and we went up to the auto supply store and got it. And I sent my guy. I went back around to that transmission shop, and I said, you know what? You always ask me to spread the word. Well, I'm going to spread it. You told me it's going to be $2,000, and all it was a filter that cost me less than $30. Well, Larry, I didn't know. I said, no, hell, you knew. And like I say, within a short period of time, they were closed anyway, but they were going big transmission shop. So that's why I always say you got to have. It's hard to find a mechanic that you can trust, and I can guarantee you can trust Phelps Family Auto Care. And that's how you exist in business. The word gets around and people start coming in and they tell a few people. I always tell the ladies that do our detail work, if you do every car just like it's your mother's, somebody might spread the word and tell their friends. We screw them around and do a bad job, they're going to go out of their way to tell 20 people. So I've been in business over 48 years. At the very first years, I used guys, and then about 35 years ago, I went to Hispanic females, and that was the answer. I told them, don't get in any hurry. If it takes you all day to do a car, that's what it takes. But do every car like it's your mother's. So, anyway, so we welcome Mike Phelps and his wife and their team over there. I think they're going to be part of our giveaway. Maybe come to a couple of our luncheons sometime. You don't have to do any of that stuff, but it's a great way to network. And the bike giveaway, I always ask that our sponsors show up for that. Usually our sponsors donate bikes, but whether you do or you don't, you need to see this event happen. Last year we gave 1,120 new bikes, then toys, helmets, the whole deal. And I had the last 30-something years of mayors there, Matty Parker, Betsy Price, and Mike Moncrief. We had Charlie Guerin, who's our state rep. We had council members Carlos Flores, Michael Crane. Brooke Rollins, who's a very good friend of mine, is now the agricultural secretary under the new Trump administration. So we don't make people fill out any forms. I would never embarrass anybody to do that. People say, well, Larry, those people look like they got nice cars because we filmed the giveaway. Well, you know what? They have to deal with that when they meet their higher power, and they're going to meet their higher power at some point. So we never ask anything. I've had volunteers say, Larry, that little green car over there has been through 3 times. Well, if that's what they want to do, we'll never challenge them. And they don't have to fill out anything. You just need to be there. And so in 38 years, I've given away 19,550 bikes, which is real close to $1 million worth of bikes if you count them at $50 a piece. So this year's bike giveaway will be the 39th, and we'll go over $1 million in bicycles. Okay, I got to get out here and get started. I will holler at y'all on my first stoppage or break, whatever you call it. Mercy's Inn. Remember, February is African American History Month, Black History Month. I've done several videos about it. I want to make sure that everybody knows how terrible it was what the African Americans had to put up with back in the day. And I always tell everybody, Kay Granger, who was my world history teacher, and she was later in the Senate, she would tell us, of course this is in the 60s, so World War II just ended in 45, and she would say Hitler was terrible, he killed 6 million Jewish people. And I'd always stick my hand up and said, teacher, what about us? She said, what do you mean, Larry? I said, we enslaved an entire race. We ain't got nothing on Hitler. And I meant that. You know, well, Larry, didn't times get better? Yeah, at some point, African Americans could actually go into the same cafeteria as us. They just had to use the back door, sit at the back of the bus, go to the movies, and go upstairs where there's a glass partition for the last 4 or 5 rows to watch a movie. I don't want anybody to ever forget that. So our grandparents passed down stories of the Depression and this and that. Our parents handed it down to us. You can multiply that by about 5 times worse for the African Americans. So there's only one race, and it's mankind. We're all the same. Okay, so we've talked about Mary Keys Gibson. Right behind me, y'all can see over my shoulder that white poster board, and you can see her face, African American lady. In 1907, she left Fort Worth, Texas on a train, went to Jamestown, New York, and became the first African American nurse to get a nursing degree from an accredited college in 17 states. And she lived right here in Fort Worth. Her and her husband, Mary, was born on a slave plantation. She was a caregiver from an early age. In 1890s, her nickname was Molly. What's the Longhorn Steers name that Fort Worth always posts? Molly. That's not by coincidence, believe me. So they started, her and her husband, Franklin Pierce Gibson, Gipson, started a church. It's still in existence today. He passed early in life, around 1913 or 14, and Mary left. But she worked for Dr. Ransom, Ransom. He was the African American doctor of choice. She also worked for Dr. Charles Harris at the Harris Sanitarium, before Harris Clinic, before Harris Hospital. And so she is the lady of our museum here. We, with y'all's help, I started posting things about Mary. We discovered her, I discovered her, and it took 2 years for our mayor and city council to agree to read a proclamation honoring Mary. And we haven't done enough to honor her. So 2025, I'm going to make posts about Mary, and I ask that y'all go on and make your comments saying that more needs to be done. There's a plaque that hangs in the Fort Worth Memories Museum honoring Mary Keys Gibson, and that's the only thing honor anywhere in this town. She was the first African American nurse with a nursing degree in 17 states. Fort Worth, Texas Magazine made me one year one of the top 400 influencers in Fort Worth, population of right at 1 million. That was a great honor for me. Mary Keys Gibson was the first African American nurse with a nursing degree in 17 states. And we've never done anything else about it. Also in 2025, every year we do a Boxing in Cowtown program. This is our 12th year. It's going to be at Rex's Bar and Grill. We've never honored our boxers. We had 5 world champions come out of Gorman Super Pro Gym, little hole-in-the-wall gym over on Hemp Hill. And I can tell you that's more than any other city. Now people will say, Larry, the Kronk Gym out of Detroit. Yeah, I know. Tommy Hearns fought out of there. There was some world champions fought out of there for maybe a week or two before the fight. Donald Curry, Bruce Curry, Paulie Ayala, Stevie Cruz, Gene Hatcher, they've fought out of Gorman's all the time, year round. We've never done anything for them. James is in. But when Donald Curry was the undisputed champion, WBA, WBC, and IBF, oh, Jim Wright, the mayor for, hey, let's get Don over here. I got to get a picture with him. Well, now Don lives out off North Richland Hills in an all-American suite motel. All he gets now is disability pay. So we're going to do something to honor our boxers. And I need your help on that. We have the strength in numbers, over 130, right at 131,000 active members. And believe me, the mayor, city council, they all monitor this page. They want to know what we're talking about. Over the years, I've had politicians come to me and said, Larry, if you got a beef with us, please call us up and let us try to work it out before you start hammering us online. And it's not meant to hammer anybody. It's bringing awareness to something that we, the people, would like to see handled. We elect these politicians and then they forget that they're supposed to be doing our work, not what they think they want to do. And we've got an election coming up first part of May. Okay, so I'm going to get out here and get started. Too old to be doing washing cars, but poor people always got to work. That field was Teleferro Field. We trained the Royal Canadian Flying Corps. When the U.S. entered World War I, the name was changed to Carruthers Field, and I just got a question. Why did World War I stop? One of the reasons was Spanish influenza. We just came out of COVID here a couple of years ago. COVID, we talk about how many millions it killed. The Spanish influenza, I think, killed 60 million people worldwide. Not 60. You can Google it and research it. Everybody says it was started in Spain. I think it was started at a military base in West Virginia. We were the big boys on the block, so I think they just said, well, hell, let's blame it on Spain. Call it the Spanish influenza. So, at one point, the warring countries said, hey, we need to bring this thing to a close. We're losing more people with our soldiers next to each other than y'all are shooting us. And so that closed down World War I. Imogene is in. Try to do something good for somebody today. And something else you can do. Go through your contacts, people you hadn't contacted in a while. Just call them up. Say, hey, James, how you doing? I hadn't talked to you in a while. It makes you feel better and that other person feel better. And especially family members. If you've got a beef with a family member you've been estranged from, believe me, living proof. End it. You be the one to call and apologize and say, hey, I want this to stop. Also, another thing that I'm sure we don't do anymore. When I was growing up, we knew everybody on the block. The bad dog's over there. You can't ride your bike through there. You can't do this, can't do that. We also knew where the elderly couple was or single person that didn't have a car. So reach out, knock on their door and say, hey, you know, I'm fixing to go to the store here on Wednesday. Can I get anything for you? We need to get back to so-called brotherly love. We can change the world, but it starts inside each one of us. See y'all here in about